Okay, so now for the mounted arm lock or mounted arm bar. Again, lots of different things at play here, and this guy is going to be fully resisting, or this girl's going to be fully resisting when you try to do this submission. And so the goal here, just like with every submission from a dominant place, is to mitigate your alleviating control over that person and attacking to advance the submission from where you are, okay? So obviously, if I have control over somebody by, having them mounted, and then I just like fall off of them in order to try to arm lock them, then I lose all of my control, and I'm definitely not gonna get it when somebody is resisting. So the way that we do this is gonna be body position first, keeping yourself protected, keeping yourself on top first, and then the arm lock second. So that's, again, position before submission. Lots of different ways that I can set this up. What I'm choosing to do here is taking my opposite side hand all the way around to the tricep, just so I can get that arm isolation. I'm putting my other hand on the mat, and I'm sliding my knee up high near the head. Okay? So I'm going up, and then I'm going to bring him over to try to get him on his side as I flip my heel over for S mount. At this point, I should be really squeezing my partner's ribs. I'm leaning on him with all of my weight, and now I'm going to switch arms. Okay? So I'm going to switch so that I can lean on the mat, or I can underhook his leg so that he can't hitchhike out of here, or I can gather his leg up on this side. I'm just going to do something so I'm really controlling the whole body before I sit back from my arm lock. Okay? Now, the way that I was originally taught to armbar is I should be able to do all of these arm bars from mount without falling down. Okay? So you don't have to fall back on your back in order to break this person's arm. I can kind of pin this leg, and I can come over, and I can just finish it right from there. Okay? I could, instead of switching arms, I could actually keep this hand here, and I can push his face to look at the mat, look at the ground here. So the idea here is if he comes back and turns into me, I might lose my position. So if I force him to look at the mat, it would be twisting his spine, and so he might not be able to do that. So now I can come over and really break that arm and just do everything from being on top. Okay? The most common mistake for mounted arm bars, the people kind of fall off first, and then they start to go after it. Okay? I need to make sure that his arm is already pretty much hyperextended before I even fall back. And I'm preemptively defending his defense here by grabbing his leg so he can't run away from me with a hitchhike escape. So I'm coming over, leaning, and now I'm falling back towards his legs. Okay? Now, at this point, I just want to focus on trying to hyperextend the arm, right? So what I'm doing is I'm finding the thumb, wrist area, and I want to make sure that his thumb is pointing up near the ceiling. Okay? Obviously, if his thumb is pointing up at the ceiling, his elbow is pointing down at me. When I raise my hips up using my whole body, I'm going to hyperextend his arm. If his thumb is pointing down this way, or if it's pointing down this way, then the elbow is going to be pointing more or less up, and I'm not going to get as good of a hyperextension. Okay? Now I should be squeezing my knees together, making sure that he can't go anywhere, and then driving my hips up. I don't want to be trying to pull with my arm. So if he's engaging his bicep and he's kind of resisting me, he might be stronger than me, bicep versus bicep, but if I trap it to my body and raise my hips, it's going to be a lot stronger. I could reach around like this. I could grab my lapel, whatever you can do in order to trap that arm and then really raise your hips up. Okay? So from another angle, I want to make sure that I get my partner onto his side so that I can get my hips up underneath the armpit here. That's really, really important, and it's totally required to get this move to work. If he can keep his back on the mat, the space is going to be too great for me to get this arm lock. So when I come up here like this, if he stays flat, even if I'm leaning like this, he's going to be able to pull his elbow out. Okay? So the rule with an arm bar is his elbow should be at least level with my hip line or higher than my hip line. If that happens, I'm able to trap the arm and drive up and break the arm. If the elbow is below the hip line, if there's space between my body and my partner's body, our torsos, there's nothing to hyperextend here. Okay? I would be attacking his mid forearm, and there's no joint that I would be attacking with this motion. So I want to make sure that I'm really, really close, and I'm bringing his body up off the mat. So I'm moving that elbow out of my way, getting it to his center line or further if possible. As I come up, I'm not just coming up and switching like this and leaving him where he is. I'm really trying to move him, get underneath. I can engage my toes on the mat to drive into him and really squeeze. Now I've got my S mount and I can just break the arm right there or get my tap right there. If not, I'm going to come around and I'm going to fall back towards the legs, and I'm going to make sure that I'm nice and close to him and I can go after it. If he's really moving his thumb around and I want to just really go all in on this submission, then I will grab and engage both hands and just make sure that I extend my hips pretty quickly and get that arm lock. So that's the arm lock from the mount position.